fugitive cocaine lord Pablo Escobar.
Escobar, a ruthless killer,
a bloodthirsty gangster,
one of the world's most hunted men,
killing 19 and injuring nearly 200.
Scouring the countryside for Colombia's most wanted man. So far, Pablo Escobar has outfoxed them.
November 27th, 1989. Avianca Flight 203 climbs out of Bogota on a short hop to Cali. 5 minutes after takeoff, a bomb goes off under seat 15F.
To find a passenger jet split open, bloody survivors trapped inside.
107 people die. The target, a presidential candidate.
El líder político prometía devolverle.
Wasn't even on the plane. One man ordered that. His name was Pablo Escobar.
Don Pablo Escobar.
Now picture a different scene. A remote camp in the Sinaloa mountains, years later. A man from a rival cartel is beaten for hours with a tree branch until, in the words of the witness who watched it happen, his body was completely like a rag doll. Then the boss, a quiet, 5'6" man, shoots him, orders him buried. The witness says the man was still gasping when the dirt went in. That boss was Joaquín Guzmán, El Chapo. Two men, two empires, two completely different kinds of cruelty. And one question everyone argues about: who was actually more ruthless? The obvious answer is Escobar. And the obvious answer is wrong, or at least, it's not the whole story. Let's make the case for Escobar first, because it's overwhelming. Pablo Escobar didn't just kill rivals. He declared war on an entire country, formally, publicly, with a strategy. It started with extradition. Colombia had signed a treaty letting traffickers get shipped to American prisons, and that was the one thing Escobar feared. His faction even took a name, the Extraditables, and a slogan: better a grave in Colombia than a jail cell in the United States. Then he started proving he meant it. 1984. His men assassinated the sitting Minister of Justice, Rodrigo Lara Bonilla. 1986. The editor of Colombia's biggest newspaper, Guillermo Cano, gunned down for his editorials. August 1989. Presidential frontrunner Luis Carlos Galán shot dead on stage at a campaign rally in front of 10,000 people.
De las elecciones presidenciales.
So if he said he was going to kill somebody, he killed him.
3 months later, the Avianca bomb. 107 civilians, to miss one man. A week after that, a truck bomb outside the DES intelligence headquarters in Bogota. More than 60 dead, hundreds wounded, a city block just gone. And beneath all those spectacular attacks ran a system: plata o plomo, silver or lead.
Plata o plomo.
Take the bribe or take the bullet. When the police kept coming, Escobar put a bounty on them. Roughly 2 million pesos for any street kid who killed a cop. Hundreds of officers were murdered. In the first 2 months of 1991 alone, Medellin recorded 1,200 homicides. One city, 2 months. Here's what gets lost: it worked. In 1991, Colombia rewrote its constitution and banned extradition. Escobar surrendered.
Hundreds of army troops scouring the countryside for Colombia's most wanted man. So far, Pablo Escobar.
To a luxury prison he designed himself, on a hill he chose, guarded by men he picked. He'd bombed a democracy into negotiating. That's a kind of ruthlessness almost no criminal in history has matched. And when the government finally worked up the nerve to move him to a real prison in July of 1992, he just walked out of La Catedral and back into the mountains. The state had negotiated with him once. He assumed it would again. That assumption is what the next 18 months would kill him for. So the case is closed, right? Not quite. Because everything Escobar did was loud. And loud was the point. The bombs were arguments. The bodies were press releases. Escobar's violence always had an audience. And that audience was his weakness. El Chapo never blew up an airliner, never killed a presidential candidate, never declared war on Mexico. He didn't have to. And that's where his case begins. Start with the personal cruelty, because the courtroom record is worse than the mythology. At his 2019 trial, a former bodyguard, Isaías Valdez Rios, testified to what he watched El Chapo do with his own hands. 2 men beaten with a tree branch until they were rag dolls, then shot, their bodies thrown into a bonfire. Another man interrogated, shot, and buried while he was still alive. Escobar ordered horror. Witnesses say Chapo performed it. Then there's what he did to the people closest to him. Follow the pattern. In the early 90s, his feud with the Arellano Felix brothers, his former colleagues, turned Tijuana into a shooting gallery. In 1993, gunmen hunting Chapo at the Guadalajara airport killed a Catholic cardinal in the crossfire. In 2008, his longtime allies, the Beltran Leivas, split from him after one of the brothers got arrested. A betrayal to authorities, the trial witnesses laid right at Chapo's door. The war that followed tore Sinaloa apart from the inside. And Juarez. When El Chapo decided he wanted his former allies' border crossing, he took it the way he took everything, by attrition. Between 2008 and 2012, roughly 10,000 people were killed in Ciudad Juarez, while 2 cartels fought over one bridge. For a stretch, it was the most murdered city on earth. Escobar killed a plane load of civilians to send a message. El Chapo depopulated neighborhoods of a city and never sent any message at all. There was nothing to say. It was just business. And the business required a war, so there was a war. That's the difference in kind. Escobar's violence was rhetoric. Chapo's violence was overhead. Now put the 2 systems side by side. Because ruthlessness isn't just what you do to your enemies. It's what you're willing to spend, and how long you can keep spending it. Escobar fought the state head-on, and look what it bought him. 18 months after he walked out of his luxury prison, he was dead on a Medellin rooftop, 44 years old, hunted by an alliance of Colombian police, American intelligence, his enemies in Cali, and a death squad built specifically to destroy him. His war made him the most famous criminal alive. And fame is a targeting system. Every bomb recruited another enemy. El Chapo bought the state instead of fighting it. When he got caught, prison barely interrupted him. In 2001, he left his maximum security cell. The legend says a laundry cart. The truth, testified to in court, is that the doors were simply opened for him. Money did what dynamite never could. In 2015, they caught him again, and this time his people dug a tunnel a mile long. Lights, ventilation, a motorcycle on rails, surfacing precisely inside his cell's shower.
Modified motorcycle and 2 carts, either of which he may have used to travel down the steel rails of the mile-long tunnel. The tunnel ultimately led to a half-built home.
A hole that required knowing the one blind spot in the camera coverage.
Sur cette vidéo enregistrée par l'une des caméras de surveillance de sa cellule, on voit El Chapo en tenue beige de prisonnier s'asseoir sur son lit et mettre ses chaussures.
Escobar's escapes were wars. Chapo's escapes were transactions. And measure the empires. Forbes put both men on its billionaire lists. Escobar's fortune, estimated in the billions at the Medellin cartel's peak, when it moved most of the world's cocaine. Chapo listed at $1 billion, while the American court that finally sentenced him ordered $12.6 billion in forfeiture. But Escobar needed to be loved as well as feared. The housing projects, the soccer fields, the Robin Hood Theater, a seat in Colombia's Congress. He craved the audience. Chapo craved nothing but the mountains and the freedom to keep working. One of them needed a country's applause, the other needed its silence. The applause is what killed Escobar. The silence is why Chapo lasted 25 years. And here's the detail that proves the whole thesis. In all those decades, El Chapo craved an audience exactly once. In 2015, while he's the world's most wanted fugitive, he decides he wants a movie made about his life. He secretly meets with an actress in Sean Penn in the mountains to talk about it. The interview ran in Rolling Stone. The meeting was tracked. Within months, the Marines had him for the last time. 25 years of silence kept him free. One taste of Escobar's disease, the need to be seen, is what finally put him in a cell forever. So define the word, because the whole argument turns on it. If ruthless means brutal, maximum violence, maximum terror, civilians as ammunition, then it's Escobar. And it isn't close. No trafficker before or since has waged open war on a functioning state and forced it to amend its constitution at gunpoint. But brutality has a signature, and the signature is that it ends. Escobar's terror died with him on that rooftop in 1993. And Colombia's cartels learned the lesson so well that they've whispered ever since. If ruthless means what the word actually means, cold, calculating, unmoved, willing to spend anyone, then look again at the quiet one. The man who tortured with his own hands and slept soundly in the same mountains. The man whose closest allies kept becoming his enemies at exactly the moment they stopped being useful. The man who never hated the 10,000 dead in Juarez, because hate would have been a feeling, and this was only margin. Escobar burned everything down, and it consumed him in 2 years of open war. El Chapo built a machine that ran on betrayal, and the machine is the point. Because Escobar's empire died with Escobar. Chapo's cartel outlived his capture, outlived his trial, outlived his life sentence, and only went to war with itself when his own sons betrayed his partner. A story we've told on this channel. Escobar declared war on a country, and he lost. El Chapo never declared anything, and Mexico is still losing. That's the verdict. The most ruthless man isn't the one who makes the loudest explosion. It's the one who makes violence so routine that it stops being news. One of them wanted to be a legend and got a rooftop. The other wanted to be invisible and got a supermax cell. But his machine is still running. From the gas stations of Veracruz to the courtrooms of Brooklyn. Loud dies, quiet compounds. Pick your answer in the comments. Just know that one of these men would have argued with you about it. The other wouldn't have cared.